All right, today we're going to jump into a really cool case study. It's all about a simple but powerful idea. What if marketing wasn't just a department that supports the business, but was actually the core engine driving the whole thing forward? We're going to see exactly how one company pulled that off.
So let's set the stage. What's the big challenge we're looking at? Just imagine you're a traditional farming company. You're great at what you do, you know your local market inside and out. But what happens when you decide to take on the world? How do you even begin to navigate selling to different cultures and different languages on a global scale? Well, this is the exact problem that our case study company, VietDak, was facing.
And VietDak's goal? It was huge. They wanted to take their agricultural products from their local farms and put them on dinner tables everywhere, from Europe to Asia. This means they had to figure out how to blend their old-school business smarts with a really sophisticated digital strategy to even have a chance.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll really dig into the global challenge they were up against. Then, we'll get to their solution, this idea of a growth engine. We're going to look under the hood of the app that powers it, see how they use AI to give it some serious superpowers, and then watch it in action. And finally, we'll lay out the exact roadmap they followed so you can see how a company really becomes data-driven.
This brings us to the big idea, the thing that changes the entire game. For a company like VietDak to make it on the world stage, the old way of looking at marketing just wasn't going to cut it. It couldn't be a cost center anymore, just a department that spends money. It had to be totally reimagined as the central engine for growth.
The team at VietDak actually gave this concept a fantastic name, their growth engine. I love this metaphor, I really do, because it completely reframes what marketing is supposed to be. It's not just the fancy paint job on the car, it's the actual engine that makes the whole thing go.
So, what does this engine actually do? Well, it basically has three critical jobs. First, it connects all the data. It brings customer information, market trends, and sales channels all together into one single clear picture. Second, it optimizes the return on investment, or ROI, making sure every single dollar they spend is working as hard as it possibly can. And third, it drives decisions, using all that data to help them make smart strategic moves in real time.
Okay, so for sticking with our car analogy, every engine needs two things, right? It needs fuel to run, and it needs a dashboard so you know what's going on. In our case, the fuel is all the data. And the dashboard? That's where you track your key performance indicators, or KPIs. Let's dig into both of those.
So first up, the fuel. You can see it's not just one thing. It's this rich blend of data about everything. Customers, products, sales channels, revenue, even how people are engaging with content online. Tying all these different streams together is what gives the engine its real power. I mean, without a complete picture, you're basically just flying blind.
And here's the dashboard. These KPIs are like the gauges. And you can see it's not just about tracking sales. You've got things like share of voice to see how much of the conversation you own. You've got customer acquisition cost, or CAC, to make sure you're not overspending to get new customers. And then there's customer lifetime value, CLV, which tells you how profitable a customer is over the long haul. And of course, for a global company like this, tracking export growth is absolutely critical.
Okay, so we've got our engine, we've got our fuel, and we have a dashboard. Now, how do we supercharge this thing? Well, this is where artificial intelligence, or AI, comes into the picture. AI takes the whole system to another level. It shifts it from just reporting on what happened in the past to actually predicting what's going to happen next. Here's a perfect example of what I mean. On the left, you've got the old school way of grouping customers, manually, based on really broad stuff like demographics. But on the right, you see the AI way. The system automatically groups customers based on their actual behavior, what they buy, how often they buy, and how much they spend. This is how you spot those really valuable hidden niches that a person might totally miss.
And this is where things get really, really powerful. The AI doesn't just analyze performance, it tells you what to do about it. It looks at the ROI from every single channel and can actually recommend shifting your budget around. It might say, hey, pull back 5% from trade shows, they're not working, and pump that money into digital ads and content, all to get the biggest bang for your buck.
And the superpowers don't stop there. AI can also help predict what customers are going to buy next. It can forecast market demand, which is huge for an agricultural company trying to plan harvests. It can even scan social media to see how people feel about the brand, giving them an early warning if a PR crisis is brewing.
So that's the theory. That's how the engine is built. But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at some real examples of how VietDak is using this data to make smarter, faster decisions every day.
Okay, check this out. It's such a great practical example.
The data clearly shows that customers in Europe really care about things like organic certifications, sustainability, and the story of where their food comes from. But in many Asian markets, customers are more focused on price, speed, and just getting the product. So the growth engine lets VietDak tailor their messages automatically to speak directly to what each group cares about.
And what this all means is that the system starts answering these massive strategic questions. It takes the guesswork out of it. So instead of wondering which products are going to sell best where, they know, and they can put their money and resources behind those decisions with a ton of confidence.
It can even measure the soft stuff, which is usually so hard to quantify. Part of VietDak's full strategy is building a premium brand around sustainability. The app lets them prove that it's working. They can actually measure the impact of their storytelling on things like brand trust and see, as this chart shows, that campaigns with that story do way better. It proves that branding is creating real, tangible value.
So you might be thinking, this sounds amazing, but how on earth do you actually build something like this? And yeah, it can seem like a lot, but the key is that you don't have to boil the ocean. You just have to follow a clear 4-stage roadmap. Let's walk through it.
You start with the foundation. Stage 1 is all about getting your house in order, standardizing and bringing all your data into one place. Then, in Stage 2, you build those dashboards so everyone from the CEO on down can see the key metrics. It's only after that, in Stage 3, that you start layering in basic AI for things like customer segmentation. And finally, in Stage 4, you unleash the really advanced stuff, like demand forecasting and automatic budget optimization.
So what's the big payoff for doing all this work? Well, it's pretty massive. First, you get sustainable growth, because for maybe the first time, you can draw a straight line from your marketing spend to your profits. Second, you build a much stronger global brand because you truly understand what your international customers want. And finally, you get a fundamental shift in your entire company culture. You move from a business that guesses to a business that knows.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one question to think about for your own work. Take a good, hard look at your company's marketing. Is it just treated like a line item on a budget, a cost center? Or is it being built piece by piece to become the true engine for your company's growth?